Hello and welcome to Codex English. I hope you're having a great day. My name is Mike and you are watching Newsflash, the show in which we examine 3 of the biggest headlines from around the world from the past week and learn English through those stories. Some of you may have noticed that there has not been a Newsflash episode here on the channel for about 4 weeks, perhaps 5 weeks? Anyway, I've had some problems with my PC that have made it difficult to make these videos. However, those problems have now been fixed and resolved, and so we are back to full steam ahead here on the channel. So from now on, you can expect a Newsflash episode every single week as usual. So, let's get started with today's episode. We've got 3 stories as always. The first one is all about how the Omicron COVID variant has turned out to be not as serious as scientists originally feared. Secondly, we will be looking at some comments made by US President Biden about democracy. And lastly, we will be looking at some outrageous comments made by a member of the Christian church in Italy about Santa Claus's existence. And let me tell you, they are some extremely outrageous comments. So we'll get to that later. Okay. So without further delay, let's read the news. Right then, so the first story about the Omicron COVID variant takes us over to AP News. Let's have a look at the headline, shall we? Okay, so the headline here reads, South African doctors see signs Omicron is milder than Delta. Okay then, so now we all know this word by now, don't we, of course, because it's been made famous through the news reports. Okay, so Omicron, it's a noun. It's the 15th letter in the Greek alphabet, and it just looks like O, just like as an English O. And it's the name that's been used to describe the latest COVID variant. That's all it is. Now, I do want to just make a quick note about the pronunciation. The most common pronunciation for this word is Omicron, Omicron, Omicron. However, there are some other valid pronunciations for this word, and most of them are quite uncommon, but in the UK, you may hear Omicron, Omicron, which to me does sound a bit strange. I just say Omicron. So there we are. Just so you know, it does have a few different pronunciations. However, as I said, Omicron is the most common one. Okay, there we go. Right then, so let's have a look at a paragraph from the article in the language focus mode. Okay, so let's have a read through the paragraph. As the Omicron variant sweeps through South Africa, Dr. Unben Pillay is seeing dozens of sick patients a day, yet he hasn't had to send anyone to the hospital. That's one of the reasons why he, along with other doctors and medical experts, suspect that the Omicron version really is causing milder COVID-19 than Delta, even if it seems to be spreading faster. Okay, right. So there we go. Let's have a look then at the first word that we've highlighted. So the Omicron variant, variant. Okay then, so this word here, a variant, is a different type of something else. Okay, so for example, we have oranges. However, there are many different types of orange in the world. So you can use the word variant to refer to a different type of orange. There are many orange variants, just as there are many COVID variants too. Okay, there we go. So that was variants there. Okay, so as the Omicron variant sweeps. So the verb there, to sweep, means to spread quickly through or across an area. Okay, that's all it means there. Okay, so the Omicron variant sweeps through South Africa. That's the area through which it's spreading rapidly. Okay, so we'll move down to this word here. We've got another verb, suspect, suspect. Okay, so it's a verb. If you suspect something, then you think it is probably true. It's probably true, okay? Now, this word also has a noun, and that noun is pronounced differently from the verb, and the noun is pronounced suspect. Suspect. He is a suspect, but the verb is suspect. Suspect. Okay? So the stress for the verb is on the second syllable, pecked. Suspect. Suspect. But the noun is suspect. Suspect. You see? Okay, there we go. So we've got suspect that the Omicron version really is causing milder COVID-19 than Delta. Okay, so we've got an ADJ comparative here. The standard ADJ is mild, and if something is milder, it simply means it is less serious or less severe. Okay, so the article here, it's saying that it seems that Omicron is less serious than Delta, even if it seems to be spreading faster. There we are. So, seems like we've got some good news there about COVID. It's not as serious as the scientists originally suspected it was. So there we are. Good stuff. Okie dokie. So let's move on to the second story of today's episode. We are now moving over to the Washington Post's website. So let's have a read of the headline we have here. Okay then, so the headline here reads, Biden warns against backward slide in democracy around the globe at outset of two-day summit. All right then, so let's have a look at what this here means. A backward slide, a backward slide. Okay, so this is simply when something becomes less effective, popular, or influential. It's experienced a backward slide. Not as important or not considered to be as important as it used to be. It's sliding down, sliding backwards, sliding back, and it's becoming less important than it was. Okay, there we are. Right then, so let's have a look at a paragraph from the article. All right, here we go with the paragraph in language focus mode. President Biden warned world leaders Thursday of a backward slide in democracy around the globe and urged them to champion a form of a government that he said needs concerted work to be sustained through an inflection point in history. Right then, there we are. So we've got some fairly interesting language in this particular paragraph. Let's begin with the verb to champion. To champion means to speak publicly in support of something. All right. So, for example, you could champion a charity, and then you would talk about publicly why people should support that charity. Okay. So here in the article, Biden is urging people to champion a form of a government that he said needs concerted work, ADJ here. So concerted is when something is done by several people or by several of groups who all work together to achieve their goal. Okay, so in the article here, he's saying that different governments should be working together here in order to champion a form of government that wants to promote the ideals of democracy. Okay, so said needs concerted work to be sustained through. Now this is an easy one. It's a verb. It just means to continue doing something or make it possible for something to continue. There we go. So he said needs concerted work to be sustained through an inflection point. An inflection point. Okay, so this is a noun. An inflection is a change in direction or tone. So an inflection point is a point at which you change direction or something changes and starts to do something differently or something else. Okay, so this is the same as turning point. Inflection point, turning point. They have the same meaning And again, it's just to change direction where something starts to do something new. There is a big change. So here, an inflection point in history, it means that there will be a big turning point at the moment, and this will be an important event in history. Okay, this big change here. All right then, so there we go. That was the second story there about Biden's comments. All right then, so let's move on to the third and final story about those outrageous comments about Santa Claus. Let's see what that was all about. The third and final story of this week's episode of Newsflash brings us back over to AP News' website, and I'm sure you will agree that this is by far the most serious story in this week's episode. So let's have a look at this headline here. Try not to be too shocked, okay? All right, the headline reads, "Bah Humbug, Italy bishop tells children Santa doesn't exist." What? How can you possibly say that? All right, let's have a look then. What does it mean? Bah Humbug. Let's have a look at this first of all. All right, so bah humbug is an expression that people use to express their displeasure or lack of joy for Christmas. Well, usually for Christmas anyway. Okay, so this expression was made famous by the character Ebenezer Scrooge in Charles Dickens' famous Christmas story called A Christmas Carol. There we go. There he is there, Ebenezer Scrooge. He would always say humbug, humbug, okay? So there we go. Anyone who says bah humbug at Christmas time, they are just saying, oh, you know, I don't really like Christmas. I don't enjoy it because I have no heart. That's what they're saying, okay? Only joking. All right then, so let's have a read through the paragraph from this article and find out what is going on. Why did this bishop make these terrible comments about Santa? How can you possibly say that Santa doesn't exist? Let's find out. Okay, so let's read through this paragraph here. A Roman Catholic diocese in Sicily publicly apologized to outraged parents after its bishop told a group of children that Santa Claus doesn't exist. In a Facebook post and subsequent comments Friday, the Diocese of Noto insisted that Bishop Antonio Stagliano didn't mean to dash the dreams of the youngsters 2 weeks before Christmas. Right, so let's go up to the first line and look at this noun here. A Roman Catholic diocese. Okay, so a diocese is basically an area that is controlled by a bishop in a church. So a similar word for this one is district, a district. But diocese is normally used by the Catholic Church to describe the area that the bishop controls. Okay, so there you can see it's bishop. The diocese is bishop. Okay, so the diocese publicly apologized to outraged parents. Okay, so outraged, and I'm not surprised the parents are outraged either. I'm outraged. If you are outraged, and this is an ADJ, then you feel very upset and extremely angry about something. Outraged. There is also another ADJ for this word, which is outrageous, which has the same meaning. If something is outrageous, it makes you feel outraged. Okay, so you can feel outraged and something is outrageous. Okay, all right. So let's move down to line 4. Subsequent comments in a Facebook post and subsequent comments. Okay, so subsequent is another adjective and it simply means the following thing. What happened next? The thing that happened next. Okay, subsequent. Okay, so let's go down to here. So Bishop Antonio Stagliano didn't mean to dash the dreams of the youngsters. Okay, dash the dreams. So what this means here, if you dash the dreams or the hopes of somebody, it means that you destroy, you crush that person's hopes and dreams, which is exactly what that bishop did. Okay, he crushed those children's dreams and mine too, I have to say. So there we are. I have to say I'm very outraged myself about that, you know? Saying that Santa doesn't exist. How ridiculous, right? There we are. Okay, well, that was the third and final news story in this week's episode of Newsflash. So there we are. There we go then. So those were the 3 stories of this week's episode of Newsflash. Are you still feeling outraged after that third story? I know I am, and I think my Christmas tree over here as well is feeling quite outraged about that too, right? I know it's not the most impressive Christmas tree. Actually, I'm filming this on Saturday, and my plan is to go out tomorrow afternoon and buy a small Christmas tree, but a more substantial Christmas tree to have on my desk here. So hopefully in the new episodes next week here on Codex English, you will be able to see that Christmas tree. So wish me luck. Okay. Right, so as always, if you have any questions about any vocabulary in today's episode, please ask me down in the comments. I'll be happy to answer as always. Okay, so with that said, enjoy the rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you again in a future episode here on Codex English. Cheerio, bye-bye.